to continue to support the pathways now in place for traditional and non-traditional students that help them to access and complete their higher education schooling. Pathways like the college transition program, which I've championed in recent years, are very, very important to students being able to succeed in college. All of us up here can pay lip service to the importance of higher education funding. It's another thing for legislators to have the courage to fight for it when faced with lots of other painful choices in the budget, and to have the courage to vote for the budget when it contains the funding. I feel strongly that the new governor will need to develop a strategic plan for higher education in Maine. We need better coordination and articulation between the community college system and the university system. There's room for greater collaboration without hurting the unique mission of each system. Better alignment of the two systems will result in savings and better education for our students. We also need to look at practices at some of our higher education institutions that are leading to unnecessary debt for students. For example, there are cheaper models for delivering remedial services to students than those that are currently used in many of our institutions. I have lots more to share, but my time is up. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much for inviting us here tonight. It's a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Michael Carey. I apologize again for my tardiness. I represent just up the hill here, this part of Lewiston, the State House. My district runs from Ash Street down to Cassell, and then between Lisbon and generally Webster. If you think you might be in that area, I'm talking. I'm running for the State House because I believe that as citizens of this country and this state, we need to serve to help govern ourselves. I came to run the first time, the person who was in my seat retired, and had a week to decide to put myself out there, and that was at a time in my life when I could do that, and it's been a great experience. I want to really thank and honor the people before you tonight. We've all been, some of us, this is our first time, and some of us, we've been doing this for the better part of 2 decades. But it takes a lot to put yourself out there. And everybody here is here with good faith and trying to do the best for what they think is right for the state. And that's been my experience of what's happened in the State House. Thanks for coming tonight to be part of that same process. My wife and I are buying a home just up the hill this fall. I'm currently a USM student as well. I'm a law student. So I travel to Portland every day in addition to when we're in session to Augusta. I grew up in Leeds, in the northern part of the county, and after working out of state, I decided to move to Lewiston when I came back to Maine. It was clear that it was a lot was going on, and there's a lot that I want to be part of it, and I'm very excited to have been part of it to this point. As we look forward to what matters with education funding, we're in a tough place. We're in a tough place not just because of the budget situations that Peggy was talking about before, Representative Rotundo, excuse me. But we've underinvested in ourselves, and we start at a little bit of a disadvantage relative to the rest of the world. In Lewiston, we have the state's lowest high school graduation rate. It's not acceptable, and it makes me proud when I know what's going on at Lewiston High School to turn that around, and it has been very, very successful. Some of the things that have happened between Lewiston High School and this institution have been critical to break down some of the barriers between college going for high school students, and that needs to continue. One of the biggest problems we have is not just within the LAC campus and community, as Peggy talked about before, but also as we look at the funding model for institutions across the state is over 50 years old. And all of USM, Gorham, Portland, Lewiston-Auburn College, receives 25% of the total funding that's available for higher institutions in the state, and that needs to change as well. Thank you for coming tonight.
We're going to distribute cards to members of the audience to write down questions. Some questions have already been submitted, and Jonathan and Candy have those, and they're going to start. I think you're prepared to start asking the questions. But as the candidates are responding, please feel free to write down other questions that you may have. So, Jonathan Candy.
Those of you who still have questions that you want to have asked, raise your hands, please. On your cards. The cost of energy is directly related to the encouragement of new business development and rising costs to existing businesses and homeowners. Other than wind power, do you have any specific ideas to reduce energy costs?
What does that do?
Anybody?
When you look at energy costs, specifically electricity right now throughout Maine, we were at unheard of highs a year ago last January or February, so about a year and a half ago. We were at, for business, medium class rates were up near 14 cents a kilowatt. Those came down significantly last year to the point of being below 5.5 cents a kilowatt in September. This year, those same rates haven't, even through the tough of winter and the incredible heat we had this summer, those rates, the highest they were all year, has been 8.2 cents. What's happening right now, whatever it has been very good. And that is, well, a couple things really. One is the price of oil and natural gas have come down significantly since the crisis we had a year and a half ago. My concern with wind power that you alluded to is the cost of it. If they can do it and do it cost effectively, I am greatly in favor of that. I'm greatly in favor of wind offshore, of tidal power. It's got to be cost effective though. Because if we're talking about 20 or 30 cents a kilowatt to produce electricity, we can't do it. Nuclear power will give you electricity at less than 2 cents a kilowatt, cheaper than Quebec. Our raw cost of electricity today, actually at 8 o'clock at night, it's probably 2.8 cents a kilowatt. And tomorrow at noontime, it'll probably be 3.5. This is a very, very inexpensive month for the suppliers of electricity, the people that buy electricity, to sell it to business.
Can others jump in as well?
Please.
We have to change how we use electricity, energy. We have to change how we live. Two of the committees that I'm on in the State House, I'm on the Transportation Committee. I was also chosen by the Speaker to be on the Special Select Committee for Maine's Energy Future. Starting there, we looked at the energy situation across the state, and one of the things that became apparent and appalling, frankly, is that 80% of our homes are heated with heating oil. And that's how it is, and that's what we've always been used to. Well, it turns out not only is that the highest in the country, Vermont's number 2, so we're at 80. They're at 59. 59% of their homes are heated with heating oil. That means that we are far more susceptible to the next price spike that happens from if there's a disaster in another country, or if the economy goes superheats again and China demands a lot of oil. We're going to feel the brunt of that. What we can do about that is be smart and weatherize our homes, change how we use energy, and look towards ways that we can diversify our energy uses in our homes in the future.
Well, as Representative Carey said, weatherization is very important, as we all know, in reducing our own energy smart meters will help us with that, as they'll be more accessible. We'll be able to know what we're using for power and when. And other things would be, the state really needs to look at combination of wind, ocean wind, and other alternatives. And upgrading our system to the CMP MPRP is very important so that we can look into these other alternatives. And maybe connecting power with Canada may be an option, but Canadian power is cheap in Canada, but they will offer it to us at a retail price. So it may not be as cheap as what people are saying.
I'd just like to follow up. I think the issue with talking to Canada is about having a conversation about whether or not we could get a long-term contract that would be helpful and have a steady price. That's part of the problem we have, is the volatility of the price. And while we have low costs at certain times, when we have to switch to peak electricity, it can be very expensive, and that's an issue. So more importantly, we've done things that can help homeowners in the short term through the Efficiency Main Trust. There are funds available for people to weatherize, to help them get started. You can have a home energy audit and then follow that up and get rebates, and there's a whole host of programs to help people move to more efficiency. So if you're still burning oil, at least you can be heating your home with it and not the great outdoors. And I think that's something. We have the oldest housing stock in the country as well. So not only are we heating with a very volatile product that's not being done very effectively. So those are things that the government's been working on to help people, and I think we can do more.
I'll just add two things to the discussion. I think I agree with diversification, and I would be someone that would want to look at nuclear power as well. When you look at a map of Maine and Canada, people are concerned about nuclear power. There's right near Maine in the corner of Canada, there are a couple of nuclear power plants. So I'm just always of the opinion, as Americans, we just get things done the right way. And I have a lot of faith. I know France, I think, supposedly 80% of their power comes from nuclear power, and I just think that we can harness that and do it in a safe way. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, I was at a presentation probably about 2 years ago, being led by the lead person at CMP, and she was discussing their infrastructure throughout the state, and then especially going up north in Lewiston County, and basically, as my understanding is that it's decrepit, that it's really out of date. It's not set up to maximize what this generation should be able to do. So I heard someone say earlier about creating a strategic plan. I think for education, I think in a lot of things in Maine, we just have let things go for a while. Our roads, our power grid, things like that. So I think we need to really, the next governor, the next legislature really needs to start prioritizing and make some hard decisions.
I'd like to add a few things if I could. I think we still need to look at dams and so forth. We used to produce a lot of our electricity with hydro, and we've gone away from that, and that's right at our doorstep. We are in a great position to produce all the electricity we need and sell to other areas. We have one of the best places in the country for wind power in the Gulf of Maine. We have the University of Maine doing excellent research. They got a grant from the federal government. They can produce the blades and the platforms, and I would assume they'd probably be able to do the towers out of composite material, which is excellent for out in the ocean. Lighter, stronger, and it won't corrode. So, and they also have, I believe, 1 or 2 tidal power units in the ocean now. And we have the highest tides in the world. So, another big area. They've also done a lot with producing fuel from wood. And we've got plenty of wood around. So, we've got the potential in Maine to do some great stuff to lower our energy costs.
I can come back to this quick point. I come back to just a quick point. I just want to add that